back to Mad Movie Reviews, where we talk about, well, you probably already guessed it, movies.
These are movies that we thought were great, good, or were just plain terrible.
I am your host, Michelle, and I am here with my co-host,
Dave!
Today we were talking about the movie Twilight. This is going to be Dave's first impression of this movie. I hate to admit this, but I've read all the books and I have seen all the movies.
I had no idea what she had in store for me. She just said, I'm going to put this movie on. I'm going to get your first impression. I know she read all the books because the books actually look cool. That's the one right with the apple holding one of the books. But it's not something I would read, and this was not something that I would watch.
Yeah. And in watching it over again, I feel like Edward is a stalker. I just have a different point of view from when I read those books. It was a long time ago. It was either Team Edward or Team Jacob. Hanging my head in shame, but I was always Team Edward. But now watching the movie, yeah, he's got stalker vibes.
Yeah, he was a little crazy there.
The movie begins and we're introduced to Bella, who is moving from Arizona to Washington because her mom married a baseball player and her mom wanted to like travel or something with her husband, which I thought was weird. I don't know.
Yeah, I think that part was weird also.
Yeah, I don't know.
Just later on, they pop up in random locations and he's in the batting cage. Is this a Major League Baseball or is this like one of those things where guys go through a midlife crisis and start the rock band in the garage? I just didn't get it.
Yeah. Why didn't her mom want her to finish high school with her? I don't know. It's not important.
Baseball's more important.
Bella Washington has a very uncomfortable relationship with her dad. They're very awkward together.
The city's even awkward, and that entire city is only 3,120 people for the entire population.
Yeah, it's a really small town.
She's also the palace person from Arizona. I don't get that. Hey, she's from Arizona, but she's white as a ghost.
The first people that Bella meets in town is Jacob and his grandfather.
I guess they got a story, and to me, not really knowing how everything functions with the whole Twilight world, it seemed like they could possibly turn into werewolves. Maybe that'll happen later on or something.
Bella's first day of school. She's all shy and timid. She's not like any other girl. She's just different. Bella's making friends with some of the classmates and they're in the cafeteria eating lunch. And then all of a sudden, you see a bunch of 30-year-olds walking by the window to come into the cafeteria to eat lunch. What did you think about that part when you first saw all of them walk through the door?
I thought it was like Team Pell people, just like Bella.
So she fits in with them.
Yeah, she looked just like them. That's maybe why they lingered towards her as far as looks and everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, wait a minute. So why were they in the cafeteria? They don't eat. That doesn't make any sense. I just thought about that. Yeah.
They don't. Right off the bat, Bella's curious about them. Bella sits next to Edward in the classroom. And what did you think about that part when she was sitting next to him and he looked like he was gonna?
Maybe she forgot her deodorant. He didn't like whatever she smelled like. I don't know. I just feel like something's wrong with her.
Yeah. And Bella's thinking, what is wrong with me? And she's becoming more curious about Edward. I think she's kind of obsessing over somebody who sat next to her.
She's stalking the stalker.
Yeah, she was obsessing over Edward because of the way that he reacted when he first saw her.
She wanted to confront him.
Yeah, she wanted to confront him. She's trying to figure out why she smells so bad and why hasn't he been in school for a week and a half? Who does that?
Nobody. So throughout the entire movie, I came up with random questions in my head. I'm just gonna hit you with some of these questions because I'm pretty sure the majority of the people who are listening to this probably already seen it. The very first thing was, why were these vampires in high school? I don't understand that. So it's like torturous. Who bit a high school vampire? That's like biting a vampire toddler and you just forever got to get diapers changed or something. But why high school? I don't get that. And why would they still be in high school? Especially later on, we learn they're all very old. Why do they have to keep repeating the same thing over and over again? It's like Groundhog's Day for vampires, right?
Yeah, and if you think about it, Edward's what, 90 years older than Bella or something like that? That's a big age gap.
Yeah, and then wouldn't the teachers know? They're like, hey, you were in this grade when I started.
In the books, they explain that they leave and come back when people die out or they would be forgotten.
What do they do in the meantime?
I guess they go to different towns and cities and they go to schools there.
And repeat the same grade, same lessons. That's just, I don't know. That part I didn't get. It just really stood out. And then I was thinking like today's generations of vampires. I know these guys are different because they can be in the sun. They just glitter. And we'll talk about that later. They shine bright like a diamond. But today's generations of vampires, would they be able to use social media or anything? Because they can't see the reflection, or maybe these vampires can see the reflection, so they couldn't have a tick. Hashtag vamps.
I don't know. I can't remember if they can see themselves or not. But my thought is when you see the group of these vampires walking into the cafeteria, they look like grown adults, first of all, and they're very pale. I think if the setting was in a college atmosphere, maybe that would have been better. But they stick out so much in this school that nobody questions it. The kids are like, they're the Cullens, they do their own
Yeah,
thing.
that's their name, the Cullens.
So nobody in this school or this town questioned what they are except for Bella.
It took her only 5 minutes. Everyone else just
Yeah.
completely naive to the whole situation. And then something else had happened. There was one scene where the guy was driving and swerving. He almost hit Bella, and Stalker Edward came across and stopped the vehicle with his hand. And they go to this whole back and forth. You stopped the vehicle? No, I didn't. You stopped the vehicle? No, I didn't. And it's like just back and forth. And it's like, how did no one else see that? What? I don't even know how to explain it. What else?
Yeah, I don't know.
Aren't there security cameras at the schools? Shouldn't that popped up somewhere? And then the family was upset about it,
Mhm.
especially when she had to go to the hospital and Dr. Data came in. He looked just like Data from Star Trek. He came in and checked her vitals. All he did was just put a light in her eye. Oh, you're good. Get out of here. But that's what happened. And it's, well, I don't know. There's so much missing. And I know maybe the books explain it better. The books don't explain any
He
of it
was
better.
standing across the parking lot. Everybody was in the parking lot. Nobody noticed him go from that part all the way to Bella in 2 seconds to stop the van. And that's why his family was mad because he used his vampire speed to save her.
Then later on, you get through a scene where you realize people are dying. You think that the Kellys are the one that's killing them, but they're not. And it's these other vampires that look like they belong in a Prince band or something. And they're the ones that are killing everybody. And they run across these guys later on. I know we're speeding through, but like I said, this isn't a goal to tell you what happened in the movie. This is just to give opinions.
Yeah.
And they were playing some type of baseball. It's like they couldn't think of nothing else to play this. I don't know. I don't get it. Any other Prince vampires wanted to play baseball with him, and things just kind of s hit the fan after that.
Baseball game was cool. Like they didn't have to wear gloves; they were catching them in their hands.
I don't know. They should sit at home and play a board game or something, and just out in the open, and they're already
Okay,
supposed to be inconspicuous, and you're just gonna no.
about that scene, here's the craziest thing: Bella's at the game with them. The three vampires come up to them, and Edward's, "Oh, put this hat on." Like the hat was really going to protect her.
Stand behind me. I just don't get the baseball thing. It seemed like they would have some other, all these years they've been here, they would come up with something a little bit more creative instead of being out in the open where you're supposed to be inconspicuous and not have anybody see you. The chance to have someone out there in the wilderness anyway, in that type of environment, those people love to hunt. Someone could have been in the trees, they could be recording it, and the whole thing would just be exposed.
I see what you're saying. Yes, you're right. They were in the open, in the woods. Anybody could have came through and seen them playing
Right.
baseball.
It seems like it's a popular game because the Prince Pyres, they knew what the game was. They wanted to play this, and that's when they thought Edward brought a snack for him, and that's when S hit the fan.
Yeah, that's when things escalated. But let's go back to Bella is the only one in the town to discover that they're vampires. Edward goes into the sunlight and he starts glistening.
I thought that was the corniest thing ever. I was waiting for his skin to start smoking and melting off like every other vampire thing, that something like that. He started glittering like some type of Liberace suit or something. It was just I didn't expect that at all.
Yeah.
That was corny. That was corny. Because if that's all that's going to happen, I'm pretty sure they could put on some type of makeup to cover it up, and they can go out in the daytime. Don't have to worry about glittering around. And I don't know. Who wrote that?
Stephanie Meyer.
They came up with something way better than that. Glittering vampires. How are they glittering?
Yeah, I don't know. That's weird. That was like one of the craziest things in the book. I think she wanted to make them seem not as threatening as other vampires. Maybe she just wanted to be different, but I don't think it came across
Imagine you walk out in public and you just happen to see this pale guy walk by you in a glimpse of sun, and he starts glittering. Ooh, that's scary.
when he was glittering like the glitter that you buy at Hobby Lobby.
And honestly, when he started glittering, I was done, but I knew she really wanted me to see it. So I toughed it out, took one for the team.
Now, what about the scene where Bella's having a day with her girls and she's, oh, I'm not into dresses and dancing. She's just not that girl. So she has to go to the bookstore. After buying a book, she walks out the store and these guys start harassing her. And out of nowhere, here comes Edward.
Let's back up for a minute. For her to say, I'm not that girl, and she's trying to play that different role and character, but yet and still she falls in love with a stalking dude in 2 minutes. I think she is that girl. So I think Stephanie is her name.
No, Bella is
No,
the writer, yeah.
yeah, Stephanie, you made another mistake there. But let's go to the guys. That scene there, I thought was really interesting because right before they were getting ready to attack, Edward comes out of nowhere in a what was he driving?
I have no idea.
Why was he driving?
But how did he know she was there?
Why was he driving? Can he run faster than that?
But she didn't text him or tell him that she was going with those
Yeah, but
girls.
why was he driving? He could have ran quicker than that just to take the car and swerve in there, and you didn't know what they were thinking.
You know what? He can't do all that because he can't show off his vampire skills. So that's why he came in the car.
But they could play baseball on. We'll let that slide.
He saved her in the car and they start going like 100,000 miles per hour. And then he takes her to dinner because he wants her to eat food and he wants to watch her eat the food.
Yeah, they should have got like carry out or something. It didn't make. That's how much it didn't make sense. Go to a restaurant, watch you eat. You should have just got carry out.
Oh, because he doesn't eat.
Let's just get it to go, and we can talk while she eat instead of sitting in a restaurant. Just carry out, Edward.
Yeah, you're right. It was awkward because he's just sitting there not eating anything. And also, I want to say Edward been going to school for, I don't know, 100 years. And he finds Bella's life so interesting that he just wants to keep asking her questions about her life. And she is the most boringest person ever.
And I think that's why he finds her interesting because he says he can't read her mind. So his power is he can read minds. He can't read hers, but he didn't realize she was so boring. There's nothing up there to read. So she tricked him, got him.
And of course, the movie goes through different scenes about Edward falling in love with Bella and Bella falling in love with Edward. And he's just so overprotective of her already. And they only known each other for like 5 minutes. What did you think when he was in her bedroom while she was sleeping?
Again, he's very stalkerish, and I don't understand anything about that whole relationship because he's 300 and she's, yeah, 17
Or
or
16?
whatever. So that's creepy. That's statutory rape. He's been around long enough to realize that. It's probably really hard for him to find someone his age, which I understand, but he could have done better than that.
True, true. So now we're just gonna speed past because I mean that this movie is 2 hours long and I don't know, nothing really happens. They go to the beach and she meets up with Jacob and Jacob is not really in this movie that much. So there's not really much to say except for she heard a story about the werewolf.
Off again really
Mhm.
quick because I like to do this portion where I just call questions that just popped up throughout the movie.
Okay.
Do vampires get allergies? Because they're always in the woods, they're always in the grass and rolling around. And throughout this movie, they were always laying there. Do vampires get allergies? Can anybody answer that question for us? Also, do vampires get bit by mosquitoes? Now, if a vampire gets bit by a mosquito, is the mosquito a vampire, like a vampiro or something?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
That's a good
So
question.
that's just, I don't know, two things that popped up. So I thought I'd share it with you.
I don't think they would have allergies because I think once they become vampires, they are clean of all diseases and viruses. I just don't think that they get sick like a human would.
So what if they got bit by a mosquito?
That's a good question. I don't know how to answer that. Back to the beach scene, Bella is with her friends. Something she actually doesn't do with Edward, which is surprising. She comes across Jacob where they decide to go walking along the beach and he tells her this story about the werewolves. And then at the end of the story, she's thinking it's real, but he laughs at the end. He's, no, it's just a myth.
I wonder, since they know now that Bella knows, if the Jacob crew will now say that they're werewolves or something, because I think that's what's going to happen. I was talking with Michelle later, and she said there was a part two, other parts of this movie that were made. I know there was multiple books. So let's talk about that. Are they werewolves?
I don't want to give anything away, but when I told Dave there was more movies, he said, there's more?
2 hours long?
I don't know, but I think there's 4 or 5 more. We're going to go back to the baseball scene where the 3 vampires come up to them while they're playing baseball. And one of them, who is a hunter or tracker, he smells Bella and now he's on the hunt for her. She thinks he has her mom.
Yeah, he caught her, and he could hear it in the background, but it was like a tape recording or something that he was playing back.
He said, come by yourself. And guess what? She does.
Okay.
Like, how is she going to take on a vampire?
I don't know.
This vampire messed her up. He broke her leg, and then all of a sudden, Edward comes to the rescue with his family. What did you think about the part where they grabbed him and they were tearing him apart?
I thought that was pretty stupid also, Stephanie. Why didn't you just have them do that at the baseball field? Why would you wait until then and have them go through all that and get exposed and Bella got a mosquito bite from this dude, and I thought it was, yeah, I thought it was could have been done a lot earlier. Thought since you dragged it on so much, more could have happened. Maybe he could have ended up being a lot stronger for the other Pelly just to jump on and just pop off his head. I was like, wow, that was unexpected.
In the movie, they made it sound like he was this really big bad vampire that was just going to keep on hunting her down till the end of time until he got her, and he was just so good at it.
And then they burned his body, started a fire. No one talked about the fire. Again, there's only a handful of people in this town and no one knows what's going on. This has got to be the stupidest town of people ever. It just it doesn't make sense. Everything is completely over their heads. They don't see it. I'm sorry to be so negative with this movie, but it sucked. And I like corny movies, but this sucked.
At the end of the movie, the girl who doesn't like to dance goes to the prom or homecoming, I don't know what it was, with Edward. And of course,
She wants to get fit and stay in high school forever. We both can be boring together the rest of our lives.
Edward doesn't want to change her.
Yeah, just
And
bite me in front of all the people. You play baseball in front of everyone in the open anyway, so just go ahead and bite me in front of everyone.
there was three vampires on the baseball field, and one of them was a female. I guess she was in love with the one guy they tore apart into pieces. So at the end of the movie, she's staring at Bella and Edward, so they're not safe.
You think she would have helped too before he got his head popped off?
Yeah, where was she? I guess he was like, bitch, you stay home. No.
Yeah, I don't know where she was.
So Dave's gonna have to see what happens in part 2. Does she get them or doesn't she?
Normally, I have a lot of input, but this was a really tough one for me. We've done reviews on several movies so far, some that you guys probably never even heard of. Even The Detonator. I remember the name Detonator. That was an A-plus movie compared to these. I don't get what the hype is about. Help me understand. I don't know. I'll put it in the comments or whatever. What really is the hype about it? Or is this just something that someone put out there and maybe some celebrity and everyone just grabbed onto it and making it more than what it really is? Because I really, and I'm not trying to be funny or negative, I really don't get it. They should have left it as a book then.
Books were so popular, they were going to make them into movies. When you're reading this book, you don't realize how stalkerish Edward is, and you're thinking, like, oh, I want a guy like Edward. You don't see how problematic it is until you grow older and you see things completely different.
Yeah.
It was really popular with like teenagers and 20-year-olds and maybe 30-year-olds. I don't know. It was a very popular book. People were either Team Edward or Team Jacob.
But Jacob only had 5 minutes of acting in this movie.
That's what I'm saying. He wasn't in this movie a lot, but you'll see him more throughout the other movies. I think that he has way more screen time in the second movie.
I thought the running around also, I'm going off script, but going backwards. When they were running around, he had Bella on her back. I thought that was pretty corny to climbing trees.
Are you ready for part 2? I think it's called New Moon.
I am not ready for part two. Maybe we can watch it on the 32nd of this month.
The 30 seconds? Okay, all right. I think we've tortured you guys enough with Twilight. I just really thought it would be hilarious to get my husband's first impression of this movie because I knew he wasn't going to like it.
What did you think about it?
Like I said, when I originally read the books, I was really into the books. When I saw the movies, I was like, I thought they were cheesy. But at the time, I still didn't see Edward as problematic. Watching it now, I was like, whoa, dude's a stalker. Thanks so much for joining us. Until next time, bye.